Welcome, guys, and welcome to this week's episode of Heavy Metal Tones with me, your podcast host, Tony Evans. This is going to be a slightly off-kilter episode this week. Not really going to be talking about... we talk about music. We're music connected. It's about merch, babies. I have a very large and extensive T-shirt collection, and in the chat around the show, one of my listeners, Phil Bergerson, he writes for Metal Ruse, who I am the head writer, head of the reviews team. By the way, he writes beautiful prose, beautiful. If you want to really be taken away on a sort of a level of information and knowledge, but with a bit of fun and storytelling with your reviews, not just a usual, this is good guitars, that's good drums, or whatever. Go over to Metal Ruse, and in the reviews section, click reviews, go on search, put his name in, and you'll find his work, Phil Bergerson. And you can always put my name as well, Tony Evans, and you can find me there as well. But I recommend his work highly. Anyway, he said, why don't you chat about your T-shirts? Because I'd uploaded the picture of my latest T-shirt, which was a reproduction of the band Bastardizer, one of their shirts, and it's got it's a cartoon picture of Lemmy arm wrestling the devil for a bottle of whiskey, and underneath it says "Whiskey till death." So I thought, well, yeah, I've got such a vast collection. Oop, I just banged that with my teacup. Sorry, guys. I've got such a vast collection that I thought, what do I do? Where do I start? I'm not going to do the new stuff. I'm going to do stuff with. I've picked out 3 or 4. If we get to 4, brilliant. If we don't, we don't. Poignant shirts and the story connected to them, because all of us will have stories connected to our things we own. It's not just a case of buying them online and then off you go. One second. It can be that, but it's not as much fun when you've got a story attached to it. Excuse me. Here's a technical moment. I'm just going to move the pop shield because I keep knocking it with my cup. One moment. Won't be a second. There you go. Seamless. Anyway, so the first shirt is a really interesting one. So this is actually not a T-shirt. This is a shirt. It's a sleeveless, button-up black shirt. Well, it was black many years ago, and it's now sort of a dusty grey black. Again, all these pictures will be put up on my Facebook page, so do come along to Heavy Metal Tones Facebook page, and I'll put the link below and have a look at the photographs. Okay, so the first one, the story goes, so I was sitting in a pub in I'm going to say Golders Green in North London, but I think it was more North Finchley. Look, again, it was eons ago, okay? But I'd been painting and decorating with my brother, and we were having our usual afternoon pint and ploughmans. And I was sitting in the bar with, and at that time I had quite a lavish Mohican, a lot of face piercings. I was wearing, if I do remember rightly, I was wearing black bondage pants and my Killing Joke leather jacket with, I think, my Pistols shirt on, possibly. Anyway, I was sitting there just sort of minding my own business at the bar, having a drink, and, dressed like that, you do tend to garner attention, and, it didn't bother me. I don't care. This guy, pardon me, taps me on the shoulder. And I turn around, and it's rather innocuous guy. You wouldn't think much to looking at him. I just barely remember I don't know his name, but I barely remember what he looked like. And he was just chatting about how I looked, and that he was a punk in the 70s, and like my brother was, the early days, the early punk stuff. And he said, I've got this shirt at home that I'm going through a messy divorce, and I don't want my missus to get, my ex-missus to get her hands on it. It means a lot to me. Would you like it? And I'm like, oh, what is it? And he said he wore it to Sid Vicious's. So when Sid Vicious died, they had a a parade, like a punk march through London, and all that in honour, basically of Sid, and he wore it on that march, and I was like, well, okay, yeah, if you don't want it, and of course, you hear stories in pubs, and he said, oh, I'll meet you here tomorrow at lunchtime. If you're here, you're here. If you're not, you're not. I'm like, all right. Anyway, we do our thing. I go to the pub for lunch. I'm thinking, will he turn up? And there he is at the bar with a little plastic bag, and he gives it to me. And how do I describe? It's as I said, it's a sort of collarless black shirt. The arms weren't cut off because you can see it's been sewn, so it was probably meant to be that way. And what makes it very, very important, music history-wise, is that it's got two patches on one side. It's got rock and roll, and it's got the Karl Marx patch. Now, the Karl Marx patch that's on that shirt is actually one of the ones that Vivienne Westwood put on her shirts. And the reason I know that is because I unpicked it and took it off, and on the back of it, it's reversed. The picture is exactly the same on the back, so it's like a reverse picture, and that's the way to tell whether one of the Karl Marx patches is actually one of Vivienne's. So that's really exciting for me. And then on the left, on the other side, you've got a white patch with a picture of the one that America Needs You, and then it's with a guy pointing out, and then 4 syringes pointing at each of his head, and then there's a red patch with a black skull and crossbones, and the initials MF on it. Now, I don't know what that means. It might be a drug related. I never really checked into it. I should look it out. So historically and culturally, it's a really important shirt, and it's important to me. Firstly, because I'm a deep admirer of Sid Vicious, and secondly, it's that one connection closer to the real sort of the punk thing. So it wasn't just like it's not just a remanufactured picture of the Queen with a safety pin on her face. It's a genuine piece of rock history. And I've also got another shirt that my brother gave me that was stolen from the sex shop, Vivienne's sex shop, which is actually a God Save the Queen shirt, which is very, very dear to me. But that one we'll talk about. That's a different story. This one is more connected because it was a strange sort of moment of synergy. And people say to me, "Oh, how can you admire Sid Vicious when he couldn't play his music, and he's possibly a murderer and he was a drug addict?" And I won't even get into that conversation because, firstly, you can't prove that he murdered anyone. I personally, he didn't, and secondly, he had a very unfortunate life where his mum was a drug addict, and then he was drawn into that lifestyle. He was a genuinely gifted musician. He loved T-Rex and Bowie. He sort of was the essence of punk. He burnt too fast, he burnt too quickly, he burnt too brightly. He was never going to live past 21. He is the essence and quintessential essence of rock and roll. And that's sort of really when he died in 1980. That was the end of it. I think rock and roll sort of died then as well. But again, let's not go down that rabbit hole. So that's shirt one. I'm really proud of it. I don't wear it a lot. I have worn it to a couple of punk gigs here in Australia. I don't really get it out that often because of its delicate. It's quite delicate. I mean, you can imagine now it's 40 plus years old, and it's the Marx patch is starting to unravel. I had to sew it. I've lost a bit of the Karl Marx patch at the bottom. And I used to wear it at gigs. Indiscriminately. You just get pulled and jostled, and we'd pogo and all sorts of shit in it. And I honestly, the thought of what I did in that shirt and its cultural value is ridiculous. But hey, it is what it is. Okay. Shirt 2 is also punky. It's before I married my darling wife, we would go to gigs. We were still dating, and I was really into a band called, or still am, into a band called Tenpole Tudor. those that want to reach out and look at what 10 Pole Tudors, I might put a link in the description below as well, or on the Facebook page. It was Eddie 10 Pole, so he was a singer, musician, guitarist who was friends with John Lydon and the Pistols. He was, if you've seen the Great Rock and Roll Swindle, he's the movie usher in that. In a part of the movie, he's also on the soundtrack for the movie. He does Who Killed Bambi, and anyway, songs, Swords of a Thousand Men, When the Four Winds Blow, Throwing the Baby Out with the Bathwater, Hey Rick. It's just, I love his. It's sort of a psychobilly nonsense, and well, I managed to get tickets to see them at the Garage in Highbury. Islington, was it? Yes, in Islington. And I know I had my, again, all punky, bondage pants. I had the 3 straps between the legs. I had the bum flaps, the Mohican, the leather jacket, the whole bit. I was really deep into it. And we turned up, and we got a bit early, and we're standing at waiting to come in, and a guy comes out, one of the roadies, and he says, no, gig's off, nothing, not happening now. And, well, luckily for us, we're like, oh, for fuck's sake, damn. So we went over the road to this pub, don't ask me the name, not going to remember it. And we're sitting in the pub with all these other punks just drinking away, my then girlfriend. And suddenly the door opens, a guy comes in, same roadie, and he goes, anyone here's got tickets to see 10 Pole? It's back on again. What it turned out as is that the drummer had got drunk and they couldn't wake him up. So, very rock and roll. Anyway, we dutifully went in. Possibly one of the worst support bands I have ever had the privilege of seeing. Now, it's hazy here because we went through a phase of seeing really bad support bands. My wife will have more of a memory of that. I think it was Big Boy Tomato. She thinks it might be Land of Barbara. It could be either of them. It could have been both of them. I just remember that it was absolutely atrocious. It was at mid-90s. It was 94. So mid-94. So it was that kind of... how do I describe it? It was sort of that... I don't know. The 90s had some bland crap. And it was that sort of bland art school... unimaginative pop. Let's give ourselves a stupid name like Land of Barbara, who I have googled and are still going. Big Boy Tomato. I mean, come on now. Anyway, once they'd finished, half the audience had fucked off. So there you go, right? And they had a merch stand, and we didn't have any money. I mean, God, I was on nothing. My wife was working as an au pair at the time. And she bought a shirt. Now, technically, it's her shirt. I wore it so much that it's actually thin. You can almost see through it. There's big holes in the front. Excuse me 1 second. And it is the Unite the Kingdom tour. Okay, with all the dates on the back. I'm trying to see where our one was. One moment. Yeah, the Garage, London, July 7th. There you go. It was the last gig on the tour. This has a lovely smell of old t-shirts have. Anyway, the gig was phenomenal. It is in my top 5 greatest gigs of all time. There was a weird guy at the front that kept... at that time I didn't stand at the front, right? I'd get closer, but I sort of hang around a bit. But it was about 50 people in the whole venue. And this guy was at the front, and he kept saying something to Eddie, and Eddie would lean in and go, yeah, I know, I love you too, man, I love you too. Like, weird guy. Because I mean, a lot of people like Eddie, because he was on Crystal Maze, a bit of a TV celebrity at the time. And he came on with a ripped shirt and an old dodgy classical guitar that was beaten up, and they went through their repertoire, all the classics off all the, they only have had 3 albums, I believe, but all 3 albums. And really what we were waiting for was When the Four Winds Blow. Now, I'd met him previously going across I think it was Covent Garden, and it was surreptitious. I just bought When the Four Winds Blow, a rare Australian print single, and he signed the cover for me. So it was a bit odd that happened, but anyway, so it was meant to be. Anyway, the gig was amazing, absolutely effing amazing. It felt like it went for 20 minutes, but it could have gone forever. He was angry. He bounced around like a bunny rabbit with a car battery up its arse. It was unbelievable. He just kept moving. He was just incredible. And at the end of the night, the drummer gave me his drumsticks. I've still got them. You hear the tinkly bell? That's my lovely little cat. Here she comes. And it was just amazing. And I've kept that shirt for all these years. I don't wear it anymore. It's just in my pile of. So I rotate my shirts around. Ones I'm going to wear all the time, ones I want to wear occasionally, and ones that will never be worn again because they're just too precious. And I've got a couple of Pistols ones that are so thin you could see through them. I've got a UK Subs one that you could barely see the print on them now. I've got some Maiden ones. I've got the Maiden one from Donington, and unfortunately, hear that noise? There you go. I've got a paper bag in the bedroom, and the one thing she's trying to get into is my paper bag. Abby, come. No? Anyway. Here she goes. She'll come up in a second. So, yeah. So, it really sort of... when I never time I look at that shirt... Oh, you're knocking the microphone, girl. Every time I look at that shirt, I just feel deep warmth, and I remember the gig, and I wish, I'd love... It was a previous... era. No one had smartphones, and no one would have filmed it. I didn't even take a camera, sadly enough. But I did have one moment of. She's chewing my headphones. No, girl. I had one very embarrassing moment where we came out of the gig. As I said, I'm wearing black bondage pants. If you've ever seen a picture of bondage pants, between my legs are 3 straps that go from between each leg, so you can walk, but you can't do much else, right? Anyway, we came out and we had to run for this bus, and there were some bollards. Now, I don't know what you call them in America, I don't know, but over here in England, bollards are like a concrete post you put up to stop traffic getting in, like a contraflow traffic thing. And I tried to leap the bollard, and as at the time, I'd only been dating Karen for a little while, and I was trying to show off, and I leapt on the bollard, and I completely forgot about the straps, and the straps got caught on the bollard, and I went headfirst into the floor. Man, how I didn't break something, but you're youthful, you bounce off. Can you hear us? She's purring away. Yeah, funny moment. I don't know how I didn't do myself major injury, but it is what it is. Anyway, that's the first 2 shirts. We're going to come back to the other end and do 2 more. I hope you enjoyed the first half. It might give you time to go and look at your shirt collection, put that on and think about it. When you do come to the end of the show, please, I'd love some photographs sent in to the Facebook page of shirts. Your favourite ones, the most unusual ones, where you got, give me a little bit of blurb where you got them from. I really would love to know and to hear about it. Anyway, that's me for the moment. Little cat here. I'm going to go and warm my tea up, and I might leave it just to... You might have to drink the cold tea because she's not going to get up now, is she? And we'll talk to you after the break about 2 more shirts. Okay, bye guys.
Have you ever Googled your own name? Prepare for a shock because your personal info, including addresses and phone numbers, is all out there. It's all harvested by data brokers and sold legally. Aura is a personal digital security service that scans the internet for your sensitive information and provides a full suite of privacy-enhancing tools. For a limited time, Aura is offering listeners a 14-day free trial at aura.com/safety. That's AURA.com/safety to learn more and activate the 14-day trial period.
Hey ho, welcome back, guys. New tea. My little cat is still. Oh, hear that? There you go. We're talking about memorable T-shirts and where they stand in. I think us sort of music lovers, and particularly the heavy genre music lovers, we like to sort of wear our badges on our chest, don't we? This is the band we love. This is the genre we like. Don't fuck with me. Whatever you want to, don't. This is, you also sort of you always look out for other people wearing shirts, and and you'll go, oh god, it's a Slipknot shirt or whatever, and you sort of in your head be a bit snobby. You shouldn't be, because they are just really doing what you're doing and showing their passion. Also, sound if I sound a bit off today, I've got a bit of a cold. I have a cold, and it just affects my throat a bit. So sorry about that. Anyway, on to shirt 3. We're going to go back in time to a time when this old man was only 16, and I was dating a Turkish girl. It all goes around girls, isn't it? Or memorable moments, I suppose, in life. This is the only real shirt that I've got, one of the only real shirts I wear that is not black, and I do still wear this sometimes. You want to know why when I wear it, and it could become obvious in a moment. So it was 1989, and Fish had left Marillion. I was absolutely gutted, because as you've listened to before on the show, you know how much that band and that singer means to me. And he was going on his solo tour, and sadly, I went to every London gig that he played on all of his solo albums up until the time I left the UK, and I don't have any left. I got one shirt. I had signed shirts, because I won a competition to see him live, free tickets. They were crap tickets, but they were free tickets. And I don't have any, because one way or another, moving home around the country when I got married, washing them thin, not know what I'm doing, losing them, leaving them at other girlfriends' houses, all sorts of crap. Anyway, this one I do have. So Fish left the band, and in comes Steve Hogarth. I'm not a big fan of Steve Hogarth as a singer for the band, although he's been in the band now longer than Fish was. But at that time, they released their first solo album without Fish, Season's End, and I actually do love the first two Steve Hogarth albums, Season's End and Holidays in Eden. I think they're I think masterworks, actually. I think they're brilliant pieces of music. I just think that they're not really Marillion. Anyway, I took my then girlfriend, who had an unpronounceable Turkish name. She didn't like me calling her that name. I won't say it on air, because they might listen. You never know. But she used to like be called Sarah or Sally, or she'd just make one name up. When someone asked her what the name was, she'd make it up. And I had got tickets. We met when I was tearing tickets. I was a cinema usher for the first couple of years of my working life, from 16 to 18, while I was at college. And we met during the performance of, I think it was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, or it could be, or it could be, she brought her younger brother to see it. Anyway, that's non-consequential. But so we went to see. So Marillion played with Hogarth on the back end of Season's End at the Wembley Arena. Now, I don't know if Wembley Arena is still going as such, but the great thing is the T-shirt just says London Wembley, 12th of July. All in July, these gigs, aren't they? Anyway, and it was a great gig, because we were up in the nosebleeds, because it's all I could afford, And they did the usual classics, play the Marillion songs, your Fugazis, your Script for Jester's Tear, because it was transitional band. You couldn't just throw away the old material. And Steve is a really, what he was, a really animated vocalist. And he's running up and down the stage, and he climbs the stacks, and then he goes along the edge of the stage, down, and falls off straight into what would be the orchestra pit, right, where the bodyguards are. And they caught him, luckily enough, and they get him back on stage. And it was a funny moment, I have to say, because up until that point I hadn't seen Marillion as a band. I'd seen Fish, and I'd seen and that was the first time I saw them, because I never really got to see Marillion with Fish, which is a real, one of those things that, we've all have those moments, don't we? We, didn't know. We all say, people go, I didn't see the Pistols, but I did see John Lydon or whatever. Anyway, I didn't see that, and I remember vividly because I looked over to the left, and there was a boy, and he would have been, I don't know, I'm thinking 12, could be younger, and he's got an older brother there, and they are singing along word for word for Script for a Jester's Tear. Now, early Marillion songs are in their sort of 12 to 13 minute epics, and they're long and wordy, and Marillion fans are known to sing along. It's like basically a big karaoke gig. And that's where I got my love of singing along to gigs. I just can't help myself. And so, I'm watching it. I was fascinated, and I kept nudging this girlfriend of mine. And she's like, we just couldn't take my eyes off them. Anyway, after the gig, I went and bought a shirt. I actually bought two. From this van outside Wembley Arena where the official merch is. The white one is gone. I think I gave it to her, so that's gone. This one it's quite a fascinating piece of musical history, because it's still got the original Marillion logo, and they ditched that not soon afterwards, particularly for the Holidays in Eden. I went and saw the Holidays in Eden tour, but I didn't get a shirt. This one's blue, and it has a big red cross on the front that's sort of in pieces, and a sort of like a silkscreen blue, because off the album there was a brilliant single called Easter, and Easter has one of the best guitar solos ever recorded. Again, please go and look for it. You can go on YouTube, just put Marillion Easter in it, and just have a listen. But it's not a million notes, it's not a thrash song, so I'm heavy metal guy, so if you're not into that stuff, by all means leave it alone. But if you want to be open-minded, go and have a listen to that. It's pretty great stuff. And so I do wear it at Easter. I do occasionally wear it. I'm not Christian by any means, but I think it's just something that makes me feel connected to that piece of music and that time of when I had really long hair. I had long hair I could sit down on. I had silver rings on each finger, tight black jeans. If you're watching the new season of Stranger Things, one of the characters there, is it Eddie? He's the heavy metal dude. Anyway, that was me basically, but a little less annoying, I hope. Yeah, I remember I used to tear the tickets. My boss once said to me, "You got to get your hair cut," and he gave me a £10 note, and he said, "Go next door to the barbers," because there was a barbers next door, or hairdressers, or whatever you want to call them, whatever. And I said to the barber, "Okay, take," and he took. If you can't, I mean, literally took less than a thumbnail's depth off, and I had it. I kept picked up the pieces and put it in my hand, and I went back to work, and my boss was like, "I told you to get a haircut," and I said, "Well, you didn't specify how much, mate," and I showed him how much I got. I gave him the receipt for £10. It was yeah. Let's just say that he was not my favourite person, and I wasn't his favourite person, and that's just the way it is. That happens. Anyway. So that's the Marillion shirt. Now we're going to sort of finish up towards here with a more recent one. My good friend and friend of the podcast and friend of the Facebook page, and will be coming on very, very soon. We have the dates planned for a nice, almost hour-long episode I think we're going to do on history and music. We went to see the fantastic and wonderful band Artillery, a Danish thrash band. They are like the Metallica of Denmark, right? And they have been there, done that, seen it. We decided to get tickets for the basement, and we decided to get meet and greets because we thought, fuck, why not? Come on, how often is this going to be the case, you know? And I think they were supported by Witch Skull. Ooh, I can't remember now. Anyway, we turned up, all eager, and I remember the guy that was doing the promotion. He's a really nice guy. Actually, does the promotion for Hidden Intent, and he's from Adelaide. He's in a band himself, and I think he's in Hidden Intent, in fact. And he said, "Oh, you're the only two guys that bought tickets for meet and greet." And we were like, "Oh, okay, that's a bit weird." So we turned up and we had some food. We had a burger that was so... I had a burger that was so hot, chili-wise, that we had to go outside for a walk. It was moltenly hot. Anyway, we went backstage before the gig and met the guys, and we had... again, I'll put up some pictures. It's such fun, man. Benji and I just had an absolute blast. But we took so much... They signed everything, right? Like, I bought shirts, we had posters, we had CDs. They were signing everything. But a very interesting thing happened. Typically, Tony, you're going to roll your eyes and you know about this. So, the lead guitarist has a black and white Schenker-esque Flying V, and let's just say, I would have bought it at a hotel room. Okay? I was enamoured with this guitar, and he let me pick it up and hold it. I'm not play it. I'm not going to do that in front of its owner. Someone talented, that would be churlish. But I did hold it, and I did look at it, and I was talking guitars to him. And while I'm doing that, all the rest of the band is signing the shirts, signing all the stuff. But I stupidly kept him talking. So after the gig, it was about a week later, I said to Benji, I said, I haven't got all the signatures. And I literally didn't get his signature. So I've got 2 signed shirts, and there should be 5 signatures on there, and I've got 4. And the shirt I've got 2, but the one I'm holding here is the artwork for their first album. Okay, the tour, Fear of Tomorrow was the album, I think. It's just an amazing... I won't wear that shirt ever because it's been signed, and I don't want to lose those signatures as I've done before in the past. I got a Vic Reeves and Bob Mortimer signed shirt once, and I also got a... and it had You Wouldn't Let It Lie. It was amazing because we went and saw them live. That one, I wore it so much that I actually bleached it. My mum bleached it to clean it and took the signatures off it. God bless Mum. Anyway, so what Benji did for my birthday a couple of years ago is because we talk to Artillery online all the time. They're friends of the Facebook page, and we chat to them. And he sent me a new signed CD with all of the band on it and a picture of them signing it to prove that they'd all signed it. And that's fantastic. You can't. That's friendship, and that's just a really thought out and wonderful gift. And I've got it. I've got it hanging up in a frame with my backstage passes and stuff. I'm just really, really, really proud. So that's the latest one. Now, it was a great gig. I could not take my eyes off the guitarist. I think it was probably A, the Flying V, B, he's just amazing, and the atmosphere. There was probably only about, I don't know, again, I'd say 200 people. It was the old basement before they extended it backwards and added more to it. Those that live in Canberra or in Sydney or who have come to Canberra in gigs will know the basement. My good friend, as I said right at the beginning of the show, Phil Bergerson, his brother Nick and his wife Mick and Nick Bergerson, you couldn't make it up. They own and run the basement. In fact, it was Nick's birthday, I believe, today on day of recording. So happy birthday, Nick, to you if you listen to this. I know we haven't been there recently quite a lot because things have been getting a bit too busy in life, and what with everything getting on, I'm looking forward to the Stalker coming up in a couple of weeks' time on a Sunday. Stalker, a fantastic Kiwi thrash band, a real throwback to the early Venom era, and of course the Metal Fest, and quite a few other things coming up over the time. They do a fantastic job there, and I would want to keep them and their business thriving. Anyway, that's the shirts. I honourable mentions. I've got a Fish shirt. Not before you go. What do you mean Fish shirt? Fish, the singer, Derek Dick. I went back to the UK to visit my sick brother in 2003, and I'm in London for 2 weeks. I open up the music. They used to get a magazine called Time Out in London, which used to show you what to go at gigs and on and theatre shows and stuff like that. And lo and behold, bloody hell, I think it was the Camden Town. It was the Camden Empire, and Fish was playing that night. I was doing the Field of Crows tour. I literally got a last-minute ticket at the box office. I think I missed. I didn't know it was on. I was in the centre of London having a coffee, cup of tea, and lunch, and I got my thumbing through my. It was. I don't know, about 6 o'clock in the evening when I saw that, and I saw it said, the poster. And I thought, oh my god, I'm going to go, and I, called my dad at home and said, I won't be home late, and this is pre-mobile, pre-texting, right? And just went and got a ticket, got in. Was it a great show? I don't remember it that much because I was right in the bleachers again, and it was an era of the Fish albums that I didn't really listen to a lot. I had a young family, so I wasn't really listening to like Field of Crows, Fellini Days, and it was that era. Rain Gods with Zippos, brilliant albums now on retrospect, but I just sort of didn't listen because, also living in Australia, this is sort of early birds of the internet. It was a lot of effort, and I had a young family and a new business and a new life, and I wasn't making the effort, and I was going through that sort of phase where music wasn't important, which sounds like. You go, Tony, with you not being important, that can't be true. Well, it was slightly. So I got the shirt. I wear that a fair bit, although I did get extra large because at that time I was a little bit rotund. And, or not extra large, just large. And it's just a bit too big for me. It's got a great picture of, sort of like a painted picture of Fish in a field of corn with crows, and he's wearing sunglasses. It looks a bit like something out of Matrix. That's another one that I favour a lot. But if I had to take one shirt from my collection, if the house was burning down, God forbid and touch wood, and I had to think of one shirt I would save, what shirt would it be? I'm sure you're thinking, would it be a Maiden shirt? And I'm sure you're probably thinking, would it be a Pistol shirt? But it wouldn't. I think the one shirt that I really have to save would be the one I was wearing when I met Karen, and I mean that in a soppy kind of way. It was the Killing Joke, the Pandemonium tour. I cut the arms off. Why, I don't know. It was, again, really large. And I can't really describe it. It's got sort of like a cartoon, sort of demon-y, sort of drug-fueled digital picture on the front amongst a pentagram. And it is very grey and faded, but I was wearing that when I met Karen. I am absolutely sure I was wearing that. I could be wrong. It was 29 years ago. But I think that's what I was wearing. That one and if I could grab two, I'm adding more. I mean, to be honest, I'll probably grab all of them. That one, and the Damned. I had a Damned shirt. I don't know if I still got it. I took Karen to see the Damned in the Anti-Nowhere League. That's in my top 5 gigs as well. and I think that maybe one I had. Again, if I don't have it, it's what I'd like again. And possibly a Pistols one. Yeah, maybe the one I wore a lot when we were dating, which is a picture of a white, thin, it's now very thin, t-shirt of John and Sid leering at yourself at the camera like they always did. Anyway, that's the honourable mentions. I'm sure I could think of more. I've got too many to count. I could wear a different shirt every day and have not double up for an entire year and some. Because I've got a problem, people. I like buying shirts. I used to never buy one unless it was a tour shirt, you know? I was that snobby. Unless it's got the dates on it and I can't prove I was there. Don't want to know. Now, over the last probably 3 or 4 years, maybe since knowing Benji, because Benji's inspired me that way, just got some really good shirts. Shirts I've regretted. I had a Def Leppard shirt for the Mirrorball tour that was so... Now, I'm not going to be politically incorrect here and upsetting people when I say gay. It was just a little bit effeminate, a little bit painted, bit of hair metal-y, and I was never going to wear it. I never wore it once, to be honest, because it was the only shirt that was black. See, there's you tie back by your prejudice. It was the only one that was black. There you go. And I also bought a white Ghost shirt that from the States. Well, Benji and I invested in some shirts from this guy that was living over there, sent us these shirts over, paid top dollar, and it is, I don't know if American tour shirts are like that, but it's shit. It's so thin, it's huge, I couldn't even sell it. It's quite rare a shirt. I couldn't even sell it through Ghost Collectors Tour pages. I do have a really rare Ghost shirt. When I saw them at Soundwave, it's an Australian one. I love that shirt. Even though I can't bear the band anymore, it was a shirt for their first album tour, and it's fantastic, and it's so rare, and I love it, and I'll keep that forever, even though I may not ever wear it again, because to be associated with them, I feel a bit cringy. There's another funny one again, just while we're finishing, so on it, I've got a Slayer shirt. I went to see Slayer and Megadeth at the Hordern Pavilion, and in Sydney, and I was at the bar drinking, as you do, and the whole bar emptied out, and I'm on my own, and I went and bought a couple of shirts, because I can get to the shirt, I can get to the merch table, and bought some shirts. I'm drinking again at the bar, and then I thought, God, they sound like a good support band. I wandered in, and it was halfway through Megadeth. I just didn't... Honestly, stupid of me, right? I thought, oh my God, how stupid. By the way, they were good, but, I was only there for Slayer anyway. And Slayer was phenomenal, as they always are. Kerry King's a prat, but man... And, without a Floyd Rose trim, he hasn't got a solo. But... Yeah, I have seen Slayer on every world tour since Reign of Blood, and I did see them at Reign of Blood as well. So it pretty outstanding. I was only 15 or 15, Reign of Blood maybe. Brilliant, absolutely. No, I was 16. Brilliant. So let's just leave it there. I will leave it there now. Some regrets of shirts I've lost. Yes, I've lost my Ruptured Dog shirt. As I said, I used to roadie for them. And a Nard Dog shirt, and I lost that. I left that in a girlfriend's house and never went and got it again. Regrets though. But now, if I buy a shirt, I like to wear it, and I like to enjoy it a lot. And I also now start collecting horror themed shirts. I've got a lot of horror movie shirts. And one of my favourites is actually a horror movie collect. It's actually The Devil. It's Tim Curry's Devil from Legend, which is one of my favourite movies of all time. It's in my top 5 favourite movies ever. And even though it's got Tom Cruise in it. It is, so guys out there, dig deep, let me show me your shirts. I'd love to see them. Give me a little story. Let me know the backstory. That'd be brilliant. And maybe one day I might even write a book and do a little blurb for each shirt. That might be fun. Anyway, that's me over. I've blabbed on long enough. Talk to you soon. Keep safe, keep well, keep rocking, and keep buying the merch. It keeps the bands alive, man. Keeps the bands going. They don't make much money on music, you know that. Anyway, talk to you soon. Bye, guys.